So again, welcome to the VBS team. And so Karen's going to have her first opportunity to share, and her topic was how to teach kids at VBS. And Karen is a seasoned Sunday school teacher, and she homeschools and all that good stuff. And so she's got a lot of experience. So you're going to share your screen, and I am going to stop mine. And I'm going to welcome you to get started, and I'll disappear, and I'll monitor questions in the chat.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. So welcome, everyone. As Sandy said, I am the VBS director at my church in Connecticut. And I don't know about you all, but I just think VBS is the greatest week of the year. So I want to get you guys excited about it too. As the title says, we're gonna talk about how to teach kids at VBS. So if you have your listening sheet, you'll see that on the top it says there are 5 important parts of preparation to teach kids. So how do you do that? You prepare, you prepare, you prepare, you prepare, you prepare. We're going to break down those 5 prepares so you will be able to see how each part plays a vital role in VBS, and that how you can use what we know about kids to maximize our time with them. So okay, there we go. So how do you prepare for the greatest week of the year? Well, when you allow God to prepare your heart and your mind, He'll use you to ensure that He reaches and touches every heart of every child. You're going to start by preparing your heart. Okay? How do you do that? Let's break it down. You're going to start in prayer. You're going to pray over it. You're going to pray on it. You're going to pray through it. You're going to start each day before your feet hit the floor, before you get out of bed, in prayer, asking God to guide you as you lead these children at VBS. You're going to pray on your way to VBS. You're just going to pray through it all. And then you're going to use your eyes to see. I'm going to use my eyes to see and be aware and notice each and every child as an individual, making that special contact with each child. You're going to use your ears to hear and truly be a good listener. Being a good listener is truly a skill that is learned. As a teacher, you know you must like to talk, because I know I like to talk, but what is so important is to listen. Listen to those precious questions and be thoughtful and mindful and be sensitive when they're asked. You're going to use your mouth to speak life, to speak love, and to speak truth. And you're going to have a joyful heart. A joyful heart is contagious. You need to spread that all over the place and just get excited. You need to have fun. You need to be silly. Because let me tell you, there is no room in VBS for grumpiness. It's just too much fun. And you need to share that. When you're excited, the children are going to be excited. And what better way to be excited than to be excited in Jesus? Okay, now you're going to use your head. I'm going to use my head to study. I'm going to use my head to be knowledgeable and learn and know what I'm going to say. Be prepared. Then you're going to use your hands. You're going to use your hands to do the things that God has called you to do. Another good thing to prepare your heart is in worship music. Now, you all know VBS has some of the best songs, and you end up singing. I know I'm still singing songs from VBS's several years ago. So get in that, and in the car on the way there, start listening to the music now. Get in worship and with those songs, and that'll prepare your heart. So now that your heart is prepared, we're going to move on, and you are going to prepare your mind. You all have a leader guide, and let me tell you, your leader guide is your best tool. I want you to take them and read. And I mean every word. I don't mean go through and skip to the good parts. I mean the entire book. Memorize the main points and the Bible verses. Depending on which curriculum you're using, they're called different things, but it's important for you to know what they are. Then you're going to meditate on it. You're going to think on it, and you're going to pray. You can't get enough prayer. All right, so now your heart and mind are all set. It's time to prepare for the kids. Who are you teaching? It is so important to understand the unique needs and characteristics of the age group that you'll be teaching in order for you to truly be an effective teacher. I cannot stress enough how each and every child needs to be recognized as an individual. I could spend a couple hours talking just about that. And many of you will be using the sorry, I just lost my train of thought here. Many of you will be teaching in your multi-age groups. So be mindful of what's developmentally appropriate within that age group. So you'll have, from first graders up to maybe sixth graders, or those that are teaching the preschoolers. Just know what age group you're working with. So a good rule of thumb to start with in understanding this is that to know that the attention span of a child is only 1 minute for each year. So if you have a 6-year-old, you've got about 6 minutes attention span. 12-year-old, you have about 12 minutes attention span. So use that wisely. So keep in mind too that the younger kids, there we go. The younger kids, they have a very limited ability to think abstractly. So you're going in and you might have a little bit of a scratchy throat and say, oh, no, I've got a frog in my throat today. That 5th grader will probably understand, all right, she has a sore throat, poor Miss Karen. But that 1st grader might be itching for you to open up your mouth so they can check to see, is there really a frog in that throat? So keep in mind what you're saying when you're talking, I have Jesus in my heart. They're going to think literally. And yes, he is in your heart, but there's not a little person in their heart. So here's a scientific fun fact that a child has the ability to start thinking abstractly when their teeth start falling out. So around 6 or 7 years old. It's something that I just learned recently. I thought that was kind of a cool fun fact to share with you. So when their teeth start falling out, that's about when they can start to process abstract thinking. So around 1st or 2nd grade. So in your multi-age group of, say, 1st to 5th or 6th graders, you may have to reword what you're saying from the 6th grader to and the 5th grader, right? But one thing for certain with all the kids is that they are active and they are energetic. So you want to keep your energy level up too, but not too much. You want to keep them in control, so to speak, but you want to keep it fun and exciting. And that energy level, that excitement, that joyfulness, remember, a joyful heart is contagious. You want to spread that around. With that being said, it is very, very important to have clear expectations. Kids need to understand what's expected of them. So you're going to spend some time explaining what the rules are, what the schedule of the day, how the week is going to look, especially to the children that haven't been to your church yet. Children thrive with boundaries, so it's really important that you are sharing what's expected of them and what they can expect of you. If you're clear on what the rules are, they're going to be more apt to follow them and understand when they have, misbehaved. Okay, so there we go. It is really important to have adaptations for children that are unfamiliar with church. And what does that mean? Avoid using the churchy words. Some of these kids have never even been to church before, so they might not know what they may have heard who Jesus is, or the name, but they don't really know who he is, or what a baptism is, or born again. Let's go back to abstract thinking. You really need to be clear and be prepared to explain the concepts to the unchurched kids, as well as the kids that are still learning. So, you want them to come back, right? So around where I live, there's a lot of different churches that do VBS at different weeks. And some of us do the same type of VBS, others do different themes. And we have what I like to call our VBS church hoppers. They'll go from church to VBS to VBS, which is great. It's exciting to have these children excited to go to VBS and learn about Jesus and sing the songs and praise his name and get excited. But my ultimate goal is to always reach the unchurched kids. And I want them, after all the hoopla and the decorations and excitement is gone, I want them to come back to church. I want them to feel welcome. I want them to feel loved and excited to learn more about Jesus and to come back. With that being said, it is so important that you are teaching the Bible skills and stories as if no one's heard them before. You want them to feel comfortable not understanding. You don't want them to feel silly or embarrassed by not knowing where a book in the Bible is, or how to properly pray. And that can go back to when you're setting your expectations. You can talk about, what do we do when we pray? We fold our hands or keep them quiet. We bow our heads. Be really specific in what your expectations are and make each and every child feel welcome. And most importantly, when they arrive, you are going to greet them and say their name. Oh, and be patient. Yeah, sorry, that goes back with the children not knowing what the rules are. So please be patient with all of the children, not just the unchurched, but with each and every child that's there. Patience is so important. You want to share the compassion. You want to be fun and loving and kind. So be patient. Now, when your children arrive, you're going to greet them by their name. Make sure you say hello. Hello, Jessica. I'm so glad you're here. Name tags are important. And if you forget their name or mispronounce their name, ask them. Talk to them about it. Kids love to tell you about their name and tell you about themselves. Get involved in them. This goes back to being a good listener. Okay, now the next part is one that I feel very, very compassionate about. For the children that have special needs, it will be inevitable that most of you will have several kids that have special needs, and some that have never been to your program before. You need to have a plan for any child with special needs. So the VBS director, they should put a plan in place for each and every child. And you as the teacher, it's really important that you review the plan and that you are aware of what the protocol is. If possible, it would be great if you could actually be part of that, or at least getting to know the parent and the child beforehand. If time allows, maybe you could set up a time for a meet and greet. Or at least at the beginning of the day, a few minutes, get to know the child, what their favorite thing is, what makes them happy. But especially you need to be aware of what their triggers and aversions are. I speak about this as a parent of special needs children. I have 3. Each child has a different trigger. Each child has different aversions. Each child reacts differently, and they're all my kids. So be patient with them, be kind, understand that it's not all going to be perfect, and that's okay. So work with your director and the parents. You guys are a team. You want them to have fun, and you want them to come back. So make it as comfortable as possible. So take your leader guide, and there is a part in the leader guide that has an adaptation for special needs. There's also another whole section that has tips to work with any of the children. If you are using a leader guide that does not, depending on what curriculum you are using, please talk with your children's ministry director or your VBS director and get some information on how to handle a specific special need or behavior, and also just what is developmentally appropriate for the age group that you're working with. You want to know what to expect for depending on each child. Okay, I honestly could spend about an hour talking about special needs, but we don't have that time, so we're going to move on. Now you know your kids. It is time to prepare your space. All right, before we move on, we've been sitting here now for about, almost 20 minutes. I want you to just, sit back in your chair, maybe roll your shoulders a little bit. Okay, you with me? All right, I want you to roll your neck. All right, do a little stretch. Okay. All right, now repeat after me. I will be flexible. Did you say it? Say it again. I will be flexible. Okay, why? Because the best way to prepare yourself and prepare getting your room set is to be flexible. We all know VBS space is not always the ideal teaching environment, but you can make it that way. First things first, who is responsible for decorating? If it's you, be flexible. What you need to do is get with your VBS director from the beginning. So here it is, March. Most of you are probably doing VBS in June. You have a couple months. Set up that meeting now. You need to ask questions. There it is. Ask questions from your VBS director. Okay, what are you going to ask? You need to ask, how many kids should I be expecting? Where is my teaching space? Can I move the furniture? Is that Sunday school teacher going to be real mad? I have a Sunday school teacher. I may be referring to me. that gets a little upset if you don't put things back where they once were. So find that out. Some other questions you need to talk with your VBS director about. Will I be sharing this space with another class during that week? You might only have a couple rooms. You might have to move around. Is there anything I should not take down off the walls? What are the safety and security procedures? Okay, this is a big question that you really need to have. There should probably be a meeting on it with everyone involved. What are the safety and security procedures? Where do you go in the event of emergency? Okay, back to the space. How may I play music in the room? Are there supplies in the room that I can use? And where else can I find the supplies? And then another very important question is, how many Bibles will be available for the children to use? So these are the questions that you should be asking the director. You also need to ask yourself some questions, all right? I want you to think through, what is my teaching style, right? And then be flexible. You're gonna have to make, you may have to make adaptations to make the environment the best it can possibly be. So again, you didn't hear it, be flexible. What questions are you going to ask yourself? Let's talk about that a little bit. Do you prefer floor seating or sitting at a table? Now, this depends on what your role as a teacher is and what the church supplies are, what your teaching style is, and how long you'll be in that room. If you do prefer to sit on the floor, which I prefer to sit on the floor, kids love to sit on the floor, I would highly suggest you take a large tarp. We have a lot of beach themes and ocean themes this year. You can take a large blue tarp and it can be an ocean, or a big piece of burlap, it can be sand. There's ways, so you take that big piece and you have the children sit around the perimeter, and that defines the sitting area. And it also leaves a really nice space in the center for you to walk around. You know, when I teach, I am a walker and a talker. I use my hands and I'm walking around. Not only does it give you the space, a defined space, it gives the children a clear, defined space, and it allows a space for the children to put their Bibles. Okay, so another thing to ask, which wall am I going to make my focal wall? Here's a hint, not the one with the door. You want your children's back to be to the door to help avoid the distractions. All right, another question is, will it fit in my room? There are some great, great decorations out there. There's some giant whales. There's some submarines. There's all kinds of things. Will it fit in my room? Is it appropriate to put in there? Will it be distracting? You want your focal point to be the Bible story. So keep in mind that you want to have beautiful decorations, but you want to keep it simple. You don't want to have it take away from the main focus. There, in your leader guides and in the decorator guides, there are so many wonderful things that can help you prepare your space. And also, if you're on Facebook, there's some really great Facebook groups on VBS that have people take pictures. There's some that have already done with their decorating, so you can check those out on there too. And then the last thing that you're going to need to do for your space is spend time in there. At the start of each day, before the children arrive, you're going to need to pray and ask God to just bless the space. Pray and ask for calm and happy and exciting children. Just talk to Jesus. Talk it through. All right. So you've prepared your heart. You have your mind prepared and know your kids. Your room is all set. And now it's time to prepare for teaching. The Bible stories are just so amazing. They are so, so good. What you need to do is to review each day's lesson. Let's go back to preparing your heart. You need to be knowledgeable of what you're teaching. So you need to make a commitment that you are going to study the scripture. You are going to get detailed with this. And what do I mean by that? Okay. You're going to take out your leader guide and you're going to open it up and check off your calendar. And I want you to commit to 5 weeks. You open that up to day 1. And on Monday of week 1, you're going to start in prayer. You're going to open it up. You're going to read it through front to back. You're going to end it in prayer. All right, that's Monday. Tuesday of week 1, you're going to go to day 1 again. You're going to pray. You're going to read through the story and all the activities. You're going to go through and understand what needs to be done. You're going to end in prayer. Week 1, day 3, Wednesday. What are you going to do? You're going to open it up and go to day 1. All right, you get where I'm going with this. So for 1 week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you are going to spend that week on day 1. On week 2, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you are going to spend that week studying day 2. Week 3, day 3. Week 4, day 4. Week 5, day 5. All right, you with me? So, doing this will help you know inside and out what you are teaching these beautiful children. It will prepare you to answer the questions. You're going to be praying on it. So you're going to know, you're going to have God's guidance. He's going to be filling your heart to fill theirs. He's going to use you as a tool to teach them. What you need to do is to commit. Mark it, get out your calendar right now. Or if you have your phone, put it on the date. Okay, non-Monday, I'm going to start week 1, or whatever date you choose, but commit to those 5 weeks. The value of that short time it takes will help these children really get into God's word and really understand. And your excitement will grow because your knowledge will grow. Okay. The other part for teaching is to learn the songs and the movements. All right. VBS has just the best music. Again, I find myself singing them all the time from years past. They stick in your head. I would recommend you get up in that morning, you're baking your cheesy eggs or whatever it is you're having for breakfast. You've got the music going on, okay? On your way driving, you can put the music on. Learn the music. Once you know the songs, it's a lot easier to learn the movements to it. And here is one of my favorite tips I love to share is recruit the teenagers in your church or in your neighborhood. Get them in to learn the movements and lead the children in song. Couple great aspects happen from this. First, you're involving teenagers to work with kids. They're getting excited, they're worshiping, they're learning the movements, and they can help you with the kids. Another part, these beautiful VBS kids are looking up to these teenagers and saying, oh, are so cool, or whatever the word is now. um, and I'm going to do that when I get to be their age. This is so exciting. When I get older, I can do that. I can lead the group. Excitement spreads excitement. A joyful heart is what? Contagious. Spread that joy all around. Just spread it all over. So learn the songs and the movement, get excited about it and share it. And then the final thing to do to prepare for teaching is each day you're going to get together with your team. You're going to discuss what happened today that was great. You're going to discuss what happened today that didn't go so well, and what can we do to make it better tomorrow. That's going to make each and every day better and better. No day is going to be perfect. We all know that, but you can make it the best you can possibly be. Okay, and with that, I will take some questions.
Well, good job, Karen. That was great.
Thank you.
That was good. That was very good. It's funny, I did the slides. I didn't know all the stuff you were going to get to share, but you had some really good stuff. So if you want to throw a question or a comment there in the chat, perhaps tell us one big idea that you got from Karen that you hadn't thought of. I love that idea of reminding us to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to our space and to just VBS in general. I think we all have expectations sometimes and they're not always met. So I think we need to be make sure that we are flexible so that we can enjoy the week of VBS just like the kids, right?
It's the best week of the year.
I know, and I know that it's not for grumpy people. I like
No,
that too.
there is no room for grumpiness at VBS. So you just pack that and leave it at the door.
Yep, yep. And Mark says, and I appreciate that, Mark, because we do need to have a plan for every single child that has a special need. And Karen's going to come back and do an hour webinar on special needs stuff in the future. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, because I think that's a really good idea. I think when people register, that we need to find out so that we can, like you say, have a plan for them. And also know, I never thought about it. We need to just know the protocol.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, whatever, and that might mean that we have to learn something new about special needs. I think we all think autistic,
Mm-hmm.
but there are a lot of other types of special needs, right, Karen?
Yes. Yeah. There's all kinds of different types of special needs. Two of my kids are autistic. My third one is not. There's a lot of difference. And when I say there's different triggers, I'll give you an example using my kids. You know, the sensory is ultra sensitive. So I cannot cook with onions when my youngest is in the house. He will lose his mind, as he says. And when he gets to the point of a meltdown, he's a little bit older now, so they don't happen as much now. But you know, for him, if he gets to the meltdown point, he needs compression. I need to wrap him up. We have a weighted vest that he used to wear, a weighted vest, and he needs deep compression. But my oldest son, you couldn't touch him, didn't talk to him, don't touch him, don't look at him. He needed to be left alone. So there's a vast difference, but they're both autistic.
That's right.
So yeah. So having a plan for each child is just so important.
That's right. And Mark reminds us the allergies is a special need. It's a
Absolutely.
child has an allergy, that is a special need, and we have to do snacks differently. And so it's important that when we're registering kids, that we get that information. And I think another thing I think it's good to remind us of is that if it's possible, you know, I hope VBS directors maybe that are watching tonight will remember that if they get the names and information on children, that they should pass that on to Bible study leaders right away so that we can use it for prayer,
Mhm.
but also we can use it so we can prepare around some of the things that we might need to do differently.
Mhm. Oh, so Linda says that they have a child who does not hear, and God is sending us a signing lady ahead of time. Oh, praise God.
See?
That is amazing.
Yeah,
God
yeah,
is so good.
yeah, he is. Now, Kelly asked, how long do you allow for Bible study time for 4 and 5-year-olds?
Well, again, attention span is 1 minute for each
Yeah,
year that the child is. So really, I wouldn't go more than 5 minutes. Um, and you can kind of gauge by watching. You have to really pay attention to the body language and what's happening there. But keep it simple. I wouldn't go more than 5 minutes.
yeah. And split it up.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, I would say, so if you have something in your mind that you're trying to get across to those 4 and 5-year-olds, then split it up, kind of introduce the story. I use a lot of bag stories, so kids love that. I come in with my bag and they know that she's got something in the bag. And so I might do one item at a time, and then we have an activity. And then I'll introduce another item in my bag and another activity. So, think about splitting things up. And the other thing I would say is you can repeat things because, isn't repetition a way to teach kids?
Mm-hmm.
So come back around and repeat if necessary. So I think that's good. Yep, yep, yep.
Oh, so Ashley, good job, Ashley. She put it in her calendar already. That
Okay.
emphasized VBS Day as a weekly devotional with my team. Good job.